The reason I felt like it was important for me to work on an NFT that mirrored someone's personality, the concept of if or imaginary friend that I created years ago was always about mirroring the person that saw it, allowing the person viewing the work to feel like they were a part of the work or that they could be in the work. For me, it all really began when I wanted my dad to quit smoking. My dad, for my whole childhood, was a really big smoker, and I could never get through to him with words or begging him to stop or hiding his cigarettes or damaging them or doing whatever a kid does to get his father to quit smoking. I felt like the best way to communicate with him was through art because he loves art so much. So I designed a Marlboro cigarette pack, and instead of the word Marlboro, it read morons. Instead of the word filtered cigarette, it read foolish choice. And instead of the word 20 cigarette count, it read committing suicide. I made it for him one late night and I left it in his bedroom. And he woke me up later that night and said, "I understand, I'm finally gonna quit, thank you so much. Please help others the way you helped me." And he gave me like a little bit of money and he said, "Please don't buy a skateboard, try and find a way to help people with this money." The backstory with the ifs is a bit interesting. I had decided to make art and pursue that. So my dad really pushed me to go to art schools. I ended up applying to a very famous school in France called Les Beaux-Arts de Paris, which is notorious for being one of the best art schools in the world. And I was one of only 3 Americans ever accepted to study more than 1 semester. And when I got there, I thought it was really hot shit. Turns out I wasn't. What I realized was that no one in Europe understood my work because everything was language-based. So I wanted to find a way to communicate with everyone, but I knew I only could do it in a single frame. I knew I could only do it on one static image. The aha moment was I was in an airport and I had to go to the bathroom. I couldn't read the signs and I kept following this bathroom symbol. And when I got to the bathroom, I realized there was people from all different parts of the world that had made it to the bathroom by just following the symbol. So I told myself I need to give that symbol a soul, and that's what I did, and that's how I created IF. A lot of things excite me about NFTs and kind of entering that space for the first time. Firstly, it's a new medium, and when I get to explore a new medium, it's so much fun to learn all the different nuances of that medium and how I can use that medium to its full effectiveness. Secondly, when I designed IF stands for imaginary friend. So the concept behind it was that it could be relatable to everyone and everyone could see themselves in it or kind of have their own imaginary friend. And in studying how NFTs work and how the blockchain works, you can actually kind of tailor fit an IF to each person. And that's what kind of excited me about the whole new medium. And they could have their own imaginary friend. They could have their Snoopy to their Charlie Brown. They can have their Hobbes to their Calvin. And that's what's exciting to me because that's why I started and that's why I designed IF. The way this NFT release will work is that each collector will have the opportunity to answer a series of questions. The way they answer each question will affect the traits of their NFT that they get at the end. The fun part and the interesting thing about this release is that we won't know the rarity traits of the NFTs until every single release is done. When NFTs were first brought to me, I was extremely fearful of them and what they were doing in the market. As a fine artist and as kind of an established artist, I've worked so hard to build my reputation, and I've built my reputation by pushing boundaries. I've never done anything just to do it. So at first, when people were explaining NFTs to me, it didn't, my brain couldn't compute what it was because it just seemed unauthentic and unreal to the art world. The more I spoke with NFT collectors and the more people took the time to explain the blockchain and how it worked, the technology became exciting to me because I could finally push the technology because I understood it a little bit better. When I truly understood that I could personalize each artwork to each collector, that's when I got excited and that's when I decided to make the leap. I didn't want the mechanic to feel judgmental anyway. I didn't want to be pointing the finger at anyone or have anyone feel uncomfortable. So we spent almost 2 months working on the questions and the answers so that we could have a mechanic that gave us enough data points to really customize and personalize your imaginary friend, but not to feel like intruding on your life, almost like a passive thing. And it took a lot of time and a lot of effort. And I spoke with a few psychologists and got in the weeds on the questions because the hardest part was not to feel like we're judging people, or not to feel like we're imposing something on people. We wanted it to be very natural. That was difficult, but once we understood how to do that, and once we worked with professionals that are very, very fluent in that space, we finally got the mechanic to be, I feel like, kind of smooth and kind of relatable and not like super heavy. We wanted it to be like a light and fun experience. One of the big challenges is the fact that we've created this mechanic where people are indirectly but directly customizing their own imaginary friend. It's very Web 2.0 and 3.0 heavy. I didn't understand why it was so difficult at first, but speaking with developers and really getting in the weeds, I realized like there's a reason this hasn't really been pushed or done before, because it's very, very complicated in terms of going back and forth from Web 2 to Web 3, and then 2, playing out all the possibilities in terms of how everyone could answer and what that would do to the rarity table. Like, what are the probabilities of everyone getting the same imaginary friend? What are the probabilities of everyone getting a different? What are the probabilities of 50% of the people having identical imaginary friends with other people? All those little mechanics and all those little statistics took a lot of time to figure out. The NFT space has allowed me to personalize each artwork to the collector, and it has allowed me to do that through the technology and through the power of what's happening in the background, which is something I couldn't have done before without spending years and years and years of work. Because I could have just released a 3D model of something that I've created, or I could have customized a 3D model to be a specific NFT, but that isn't pushing the boundaries of what the blockchain can do, and that isn't pushing the boundaries of what NFTs can be. And unless you're pushing boundaries, sometimes it's not worth doing.